Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah. Today we're taking a little break from paper crafting, but don't worry, it's only for a little while. But instead, I'm going to show you how to make custom sublimated pencil cases. These are an amazing back to school project to make for your children or for yourself if you are going somewhere where a pencil case would be appropriate. I know I do not go anywhere without a few good pens and some stationery with me. I'm going to be showing you how to create your own designs using Creative Fabrica's Spark tool. This is an easy to use online tool, which means that you can create your very own pencil case designs with any images and text in just a few clicks and just a few minutes. It's so easy to use, and I'll show you how to do it in this video, plus how to sublimate the design onto a pencil case. To find out more about Studio, check out the links in the description of this video, and I'll also add some links in there to a rather special back to school deal that Creative Fabrica are currently running. So don't miss out on that. But for now, here's how to design custom sublimation designs using Creative Fabrica's Studio tool. Let's get started. To start, head to studio.creativefabrica.com and then click the Create New Design button. From there, choose the paper size that you will be printing on with your sublimation printer. It will be much easier if we do the design to the size of the paper, and then we'll add a template on top of that for the size of the actual sublimation blank. I'm going to choose A4, and then under DPI, make sure your print is set to the highest, which is 300. And then because my pencil case is landscape, I'll go for landscape orientation, and then press Create New Design. So here's my A4 blank, and now I need to make a template on there that's the size of my pencil case. I've already measured it, so I know the size of the width and the height, and I've measured the area of that pencil case that is suitable for doing the sublimation on top of. Go into Elements and type out square, and then choose the basic shape, which is that blue square. I'll just make it a little bigger so it's easier to see. We need to resize this square to the same size as the sublimation blank. Head to Google and Google inches to pixels converter and find something to use. I'm doing pixelsconverter.com, which seems to work well. Under PPI, change that to 300, which is the quality of the file we selected when we created the blank in Studio. And then my width is 9.25 inches. Press convert. So that's 2775 pixels. I'll head back over here, and now I can drag this, and you see as I'm moving it, the numbers along the bottom are changing. That is those pixels. So I can drag this until it's roughly what it said, which was 2775, I believe. It doesn't matter if you're slightly off, 2776 is fine. Go back and repeat that for the height, 5.75 inches for me, and that's 1725 pixels tall. So let's drag this until that number says 1725, or near enough. Spot on. Okay, so this is now the size of my pencil case. I'll make it kind of match the colour a little bit, which is a slight off-white. Although you do want it to still be dark enough that you can actually see it on your screen. So I'll just go for that for now. To make it so that we don't start moving this about when we're adding the pictures, click it, hover over it in the Layers panel and press the padlock icon. And now that means even if you click and drag, it won't actually move. You can give your template a name. Let's go pencil case, and this will be the name for the whole project. Now that we've got the setup part done, it's time for the fun bit of choosing the images to go on top. Now we can start adding the decorations. I'll go into graphics and search for a background. If you'd prefer, you can use the uploads here to upload any image you already have saved, but I am going to have a little look in here. And I am thinking a galaxy theme would look really nice. So let's have a little look at some backgrounds. It can take a little bit of scrolling to sort of find what you're searching for, but that looks nice. And then within there, let's add some little animals. Maybe let's type, I can't spell, Galaxy Puppy and see what comes up. That's not quite what I had in mind. Maybe Rainbow Puppy. Oh, there we go. They're nice. I think I'll go for that one. And you can just click it to add it on. And then when you click away and click back, you'll get the options to resize it. So you can change it to whatever size you want. And let's keep having a look through. These are so cute. Okay, I'm going to go for this one to go over in my top right. I'm not putting anything right to the very edge of my template, which is the size of my sublimation blank, because the top bit's got the zip on it, and also the very bottom bit is where it's got the seam, so I don't want to have to press those parts of the design. So I'm keeping a nice little bit around all of the edges to make it easier for when I come to press. Some butterflies might be nice too. Let's try Rainbow Butterfly. Of course, you could type in any theme or decoration or images that you want to. Add a couple of these. Place them around my design. There we go. And then that's almost there. I just want to add my name into the middle. So to do that, we'll click text and then heading. And I will type out my name. You can select it to choose a font. I already know one I like, which is called Pacifico. And then we'll make it a little bigger. And then you can change the color by clicking in here. And then there's the color picker. So you could pick an exact color from the design. And then that's pretty hard to read. So I think what would be nice is to have a border around the edge of the word where I can see the color of my sublimation blank through, which for me is sort of just a white, slight off-white. To do that, you've got border weight here. So I can drag this slider to add an offset or a border. And then I'll change the color to white, because nothing that is white in a sublimation printer will actually print anything. So that will just show as empty with no text. So you can see how in just a couple of minutes, I've got something that is looking pretty good. And remember, this won't actually be printed out. We'll just get the lovely colorful design. So what I'm going to do now is just pause my video and have a play around with some of these images, getting them exactly where I want them lined up. I'm really fussy, so I'm probably going to be here for ages, and there's no point in you sitting here watching me move things a tiny bit to the left and a tiny bit to the right until I'm happy with it. So I'll go ahead and give that a final play around, and then we'll see how it turns out. Here's my final pencil case design. I changed some of the images to a couple of slightly different ones, and also the background I modified a little bit as well. And for the text, I've used the gradient feature, which is here in the color picker, to make it purple at the top and pink at the bottom. But I'm now happy with how this is looking, so I'm going to hide my base rectangle by hovering over it in the layers panel and pressing the I to get rid of it. And then this is ready for me to download. To download, press share on the top and then download. Depending on your type of printer, you might want to mirror the design by flipping it horizontally. Sublimation prints should be printed in their mirror form. However, for me, I have an Epson SureColor F100 printer, which is a dedicated sublimation printer, and that automatically does the mirroring for me. I don't need to do it manually. So for me, I don't need to mirror it here, but if your printer does require you to do it manually, make sure you do that. And then we'll go the print PDF option, and that will save the PDF to my computer. Here's what my design looks like when it's opened up in Adobe Acrobat, which is how I view PDFs on my computer. You might have a different program, and that's absolutely fine. Then I can click on my print icon up here, and this is looking good, but what you might find is that this might download a little bit big. So what you might find is your preview looks a little bit like this, where you've got the bit in the middle, which is the size of your paper, and then it's showing everything else is too big. If that is the case, choose Shrink Oversized Pages or Fit, And that should size it correctly, because remember, our very outline of our file was set to the size of the paper. So by doing shrink oversized pages, it's going to shrink what it thinks is a really big image to the size of our paper, but it means the sublimation design will stay exactly the same as we designed it in Studio. So we know it's definitely going to fit. I've got my F100 printer selected, and let's just have a little look in properties. I'll change my quality to high, and then because I'm putting it on a textile, I'm going to change my paper type to textile. That's a specific setting for my individual printer. You might not have that, and that's fine. But what I do recommend is that you do set the quality to high, just because you'll get a better print. And then I'm doing it landscape. The preview's looking good, so I'm going to go ahead and print this out on sublimation paper, and then we'll see how to press it onto the pencil case. Here's my sublimation printer. It's an Epson SureColor F100, which is a dedicated sublimation printer, and I'm using sublimation paper inside, which I've already loaded into the tray. So I'm going to go ahead and close that up, open the paper feed, and then get my project printed. Here's my sublimation print. You can see it's mirrored the design, so it's back to front. And don't worry that the colours look a little dull now. That's completely normal for sublimation ink. They'll brighten up once this has been pressed. To make it easier to align on the pencil case, I'm going to just carefully rip around the edges of the design. You could cut the paper, but I found that ripping it seems to work a little bit better because the edges end up a bit softer, whereas when I've tried it on a few different things by cutting the paper, you could still kind of see the outlines of the paper after it is pressed, and it did go away after a while, but by ripping the paper instead, that effect is much more subtle. Sometimes you can't notice it at all, so that is just kind of what I prefer. Just be careful when you're doing it that you don't rip anything that's got ink on it. And that little beep was my easy press, which is now heated up. I'm doing it at 185 degrees Celsius for 60 seconds. Okay, so I've got my pencil case. And to prevent any bleeding through to the other side, I'm using some baking paper inside. You can also use butcher paper. This one is the Cricut brand, but there's lots of different ones. It's definitely cheaper if you can pick up some baking paper or greaseproof paper from the supermarket. And I've cut a piece roughly to the size of my pencil case, and I'll add this inside. I've got my pressing pillow to protect my work surface, and then put the pencil case on there. I'm going to give it a little go over with a lint roller to make sure there's no little bits of dust on there. Otherwise, your sublimation ink will go into those bits of dust rather than into the pencil case, which means when the dust moves, you won't see the colour underneath. Okay, now I can line up my print. So it's going ink side down. Trying to get it so it's straight. I can just about see through on this sublimation paper, but I am very bad at getting stuff lined up straight. If you wanted to, you could use some heat-proof tape to hold this in place, but I think it's going to be okay. So I'll just put some more of my baking paper over the top, and then I'm going to press it. I'm a little bit worried about the plastic zip on the top of the pencil case, so I'm going to make sure that my heat press isn't actually touching that. Right, let's see how it's turned out. Look at those colours! That looks so much more vibrant now that it's on the pencil case. It's still a little bit hot, so I'm being a bit careful. Look at that, it's so bright and colourful and lovely. And I really like how the original colour of the pencil case looks around the name so that it's easier to read. So there is the front of my pencil case. I'm going to leave the other side blank, but you could either repeat the same design on the other side, or you could create something completely different to go on there, so it's different on both sides. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make custom sublimated pencil cases using designs that you've made yourself in Creative Fabrica's Studio tool. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and sublimation projects. Let me know in the comments what you think about this particular project. Will you be giving it a try? And what do you think about sublimation videos in general? Is that something you'd like to see more of on my channel, or should I stick to good old trusty Cricut paper crafting? Let me know what you think, but for now, thank you for watching. Bye!